you guys? This is Danetta, and this is my very first podcast to showcase my stories, my short stories. I've done submit your ish type of stories all through YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, Snapchat. However, this Storytime Lab will be my chance to feature some of my short stories that I've written and published on Amazon, as well as some of my Wattpad stories, just to get myself out there as a writer, which I should have done a long time ago, just to see if other people, like listening or reading my stuff. I did have a lot of stuff on Writer's Poet and getting a lot of feedback on Readwave, but that ended. So I know I have some good aspects of being able to write and tell stories as much as I like to read stories and read books, which is my favorite thing to do, my favorite pastime. So I hope you guys enjoy. Please leave your feedback to let me know what you think. My first story is going to be Angel's Imagination, which is a short piece, which is a part of another short story book compiled of other short stories called Campfire Tales, which is on Amazon currently. So I'm going to jump right in and just let me know what you guys think. Thank you. Angel's Imagination. Angel walked through the dark corridor, approaching the moans sounding from the basement. She quietly took one step at a time, careful not to wake anyone else in the house. Each step, Angel became closer to the weeping noises heard below. The closer she got, the louder the sounds became. Taking that last step on the hardwood floor, a small squeak was made. Not too loudly, Angel thought. Then the weeping mellowed down a bit, as if the small sound of the squeaking of the hardwood floors could be heard so far down below. Angel's heart skipped a beat. Her eyes grew wide, and as hard as she listened, you would have thought her eardrums opened up wider than ever before. Angel stood there frozen in place, heeding, absorbed, and expecting to hear what? What did she want to hear? The weeping again? Or the silence that bellowed through the house? Then it became clear to Angel that the small sound of a step on the hardwood floor could be heard just as if she had made it far down below. She remembered almost immediately how she would play in the basement and could hear every sound perfectly. Just standing there in the center of the room, she could hear conversations, laughter, and footsteps that walked on the floor, every squeak, every tap. Still focused, Angel begins to take longer strides towards the basement. She was eager to see what or who would be making those horrid cries into the night, weeping like a sad child who had lost his or her way, trapped perhaps down in the basement until someone heard their cries. Angel approached the basement door and peered into the small window, her eyes scanning the room for anything out of the ordinary. It looked the same as it did before, just the way she had left it, her drawing table over off to the back of the room, her brother's toys scattered all over the floor. Angel had to lift herself up on her toes to see clearer into the room. Just as she did, a dark figure shot across the room. Angel squinted her eyes as her vision became blurred, trying to focus, seeing in the dark. Curiosity killed the cat, Angel thought, as she gripped the doorknob much tighter. There was nothing to be afraid of. It was probably a mouse, or worse, a rat, the king of rats and his colony, Angel speculated. Gripping the knob, Angel's face jerked up as the knob began to turn. Was she the one turning the knob? Angel stared down at the knob as it turned. She gripped the knob even tighter, forcing it to stay in place. Afraid to look through the window of the door, she kept her eyes closed tight. Not on purpose, she began to hold her breath. Seconds went by, and her grip became weak. She opened her mouth. A gust of air blew out, forming a small fog against the window. Slowly, she opened her eyes, one lid at a time. Angel smiled as she looked through the window, unable to see a thing. It was only in her imagination. Her mind was playing tricks on her. The fog vanished from the window. Not afraid of looking through the window, Angel's pulse slowed as she let out a sigh of relief. Angel didn't need to see anymore. She figured the crying she heard earlier was also a part of her imagination. Maybe it was just a dream she was having and somehow she got confused. She turned to leave. The weeping started again. Feeling a bit frightful, she hesitated to turn back. What could it be? She thought. She tried to shake off the eerie feeling she felt come over her. Cries got louder, and against Angel's better judgment, she walked over to the basement door and peered into the window. Appearing before her like a ghostly presence was she, but younger. The more she stared at the presence, the more alive it became. How could this be? She questioned. Her thoughts were like a puzzle she couldn't piece together. Angel ran up the stairs and into her room. She jumped in her bed and buried her face within the comfort of her furry pink pillow. She would wait until morning. Then she would discuss everything that happened with her father. Well, thanks for listening, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the short story of Angel's Imagination. This particular short piece was going to be a longer story, but I never finished it out, so I just kept it as a short piece and again put it in the short stories tales in the Camp Fairy Tales book that I have, which is just a few short stories there. And generally, I've noticed that a few people do have short stories available just for reading. So it's just to listen to things that you may be interested in. And please provide your feedback if you like this story. Subscribe so that way you can hear future stories from me. We'll be posting again very soon. I appreciate your support and your feedback. Thank you for listening.